You know what I mean? It's like we love the bands as far as like musically because we grew up on it. Like, you know, whether it was the Commodores, Bluebird, Earth, Wind and Fire, you know, we was into that.
For sure. It's so funny because I actually went live with DJ Semtex.
Okay.
And he was saying he DJ'd one of your guys' shows and you guys were an hour and a half late, so he was getting booed.
Wow. What show was this? When was this?
In London. It was probably in London.
How long ago?
It was probably a while ago.
Yeah, because I'm like, we was late. Wow. Like, we be on time now. Like, as far as like when they tell us to be there, we there.
Yeah. I was hoping you would remember that night, but they said you guys came and tore it up and none of them cared about how late you were.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
That's funny. I love it. Well, how have you been? Like, you know, just with everything going on, we survived a pandemic.
Yeah, pandemic was crazy. Pandemic, I think, you know, pros and cons. It was up and downs because we all lost like family members along the way during the pandemic. But, you know, me personally, I got a chance to sit down and work and, you know, do some family time, things like that. So that was the positive on it.
For sure, 1000%. Just to take it all the way back, and for people who might not know, how did you get into DJing?
I got into DJing, you know, I grew up as a hip hop head, so I did all aspects of it from like graffiti to breaking, to MCing, but I became a DJ. You know, I'm from Southside Queens, so the person who I really got to give salutes to is the GMV, Grandmaster Vic. You know, I was at a 40 jam and, you know, I was young, riding on my bike and got to the front and I got a chance to see a master at work. And when I seen him and how graceful he was and how ill, and I was like, yo, that's what I want to do. So that's how I started DJing.
I love it. Did someone teach you? Did you teach yourself?
Taught myself.
Okay.
You know, I have friends that DJ, so I used to go to different cats' houses and you know, we practice. But mainly I taught myself, just being in the lab. You know, I cut school to be home DJing, be home practicing. It's like, you know, it was a passion.
Right. What was the progression from DJing to producer?
The progression was actually, it was kind of fast because I started producing at a time I didn't really know what production was. I started producing really first, originally, you know, because I was DJing for Jizza when he was on Cold Chillin'. So when that didn't work, me and him, we did a couple of demos, and I ended up going back to work, becoming a carpenter. You know, my father brought me in; he was a carpenter. So by trade, I became a carpenter, and I saved up some money, got some equipment. I got me an amp, not an amp. I already had an amp. I got a COD 950 and a Lisa's, I think HR 808 to trigger it. And I was just sampling joints, and we was just doing joints, and but then that's around the same time when RZA was, you know, starting this whole Wu-Tang thing, and he was already like with the beats, he already knew what he was doing, so it was just coming like I'm hearing the shit he doing, and I'm listening to what I'm doing. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? So I took a back seat, you know what I mean? I was like, I'm gonna just DJ. But then I started producing when, you know, one night we was hanging out, we was chilling. RZA was working on the Cuban Links album. We went to the movies. When we came back from the movies, he started working on an Ice Cream beat. And I remember falling out, but then kept waking up because, you know, smoking, drinking 40s and all that kind of, you know, we had a little spot out of Staten Island. I was kind of knocking out, and I seen him making a beat, and I'm hearing it. And then, like, you know, it was probably 3 o'clock in the morning he's on it. By 7 o'clock in the morning, Ice Cream is blaring out the speakers. I hopped up like, yo, what the fuck? How did you do that? Like, because I heard the whole, and not saying I never seen him or heard him make beats before, but this time for some reason it really just keyed in on me. And, you know, he took the time to start introducing me to different, he told me about the ASR 10, and that's what I went and copped. I went and copped that right after that. But that's when I became a producer, and I started producing and being a DJ, because I think the best DJs are producers, whether it's like Pete Rock, Premier, you know, Large Professor, I mean, Dr. Dre, Lord Finesse. I mean, the list goes on. It's like anybody that's, not anybody, but a lot of dope producers know how to DJ or were DJs at one time or another. So it's a huge transition.
Someone on here said the best producers start out as DJs. Is that true?
Yeah, that's true. Yup, because you understand, how to break down the record. You understand the beats, and I didn't get into music theory until later, so I didn't understand like the concepts of measures, but I knew beats and bars. But then when I realized it was one and the same and started understanding music, it really helped me, propelled me a lot more taking music theory. But yeah, naturally as a DJ, yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with that.
Music theory was hard. I did
Rob
that.
Swift, what up? That's what I was about to do. Rob Swift, yeah.
Who?
Dope DJ. Rob Swift, Frolic on. DJ
Oh,
Rob Swift, Execution is X-Men. Yeah, I just seen him up there. That's my dude.
I love it. He's the one that said that.
Oh, okay. He, my man. Yeah. So,
I
yeah, you
love
were
it.
saying
Well,
music theory was hard?
yeah, when I was learning piano, we had to do music theory. That shit was hella hard. Just me.
Yeah. Did you have the passion for it? Or it was like,
Nah,
because you got,
it was something my
if you got the
parents.
passion for it.
Right. Nah, for sure. Well, this year celebrates 50 years of hip hop. What does hip
Yeah.
hop mean to you?
Yeah. It's life. It's like, I've been living hip hop all my life. As far as I'm concerned, like from the first time I seen B-boying and up rocking and didn't know what it was. I seen it at the community center, like through Rodney McClain, who was like a real cool dude doing it. So I was like, what the hell is that? So I was attracted to it. Then seeing the graffiti on the trains and the walls, I got into it. So, it's more than just music for me. Hip hop is a way of life. It's, because it came, for me, it came at a time like during, Ronald Reagan was president, when he was president and he took all the music programs out of the school. It helped us. It gave us a voice. When you hear songs like The Message and Melly Mel dropping it, or we saw Beat Street, because Melly Mel was killing even in Beat Street. He was dropping jewels in there. And we got to tell our story. The East Coast told the story first, New York. And then the story would keep going. As it gets to the West Coast, it got on to the, we got to see how they live. When I heard NWA, I was in high school like, yo, this is crazy. Even when Common, when I used to love her, and the way he described the whole element of hip hop, but it made it sound like a female, that was beautiful to me. So yeah, hip hop is just a way of life. It's beautiful because I recall it was a time when they said hip hop would not last. They said it's not music, it's a phase, it's going to fade out, it won't last. And look, 50 years later, it's the #1 genre in music.
That part.
Exactly.
Facts. Do you have a top 5 all time?
MCs or?
It doesn't have to be, just
top
artists in general.
5 songs? Oh yeah, top 5. Oh yeah, well I have different, it depends. Now if you talk about R&B, if you talk about MCs, then even if you're talking about decades, because, like certain people, certain groups, to me, the Cold Crush 4, Treacherous 3, Force of Seas, Fearless 4, groups like that, Fantastic Freaks, they inspired me. Kool Moe B, Melly Mel, Grandmaster Caz, those were the greats. Grand Wizard Theodore, who invented the scratch. Grandmaster Flash, Kool Herc, those are, to me, they always going to be tops. Then when you get into the 80s and the music changed, and of course you have Run DMC that was like, because when Sucker MCs came out, that was totally different. Because all it was the drums. There was no harmonizing. One just came out spitting 2 years ago. So it was like, whoa, what the hell is this? Then if you looked at it, when you looked at like the groups back then, and you looked at like whether it was the Soul Sonic Force, the cats like that, and how they was dressing, and I didn't really understand it then because I thought it was kind of weird a little bit. But then I heard somebody breaking it down in an interview. I can't remember, and they were saying that they was being the rock stars, living it out, how rock stars dressed and how they did. But Run DMC, they came like, the coolest dudes around the way. They came like with the brim hats and the mock necks and the lead jeans and and then LL came and it just, I need a beat, drums again, and he's just killing it in the vocabulary. So it started growing. So if you go through the 80s, those are the greats to me. Cool G rap. Like the first time I heard really I would consider gangster rap would be Cool G rap. It would either be him or Schoolie D, but I'm gonna say Cool G rap because he had a song called Rikers Island, and he was rhyming about Rikers Island. This was like I want to say 85 or something like that, and that was a whole different perspective. Then you have, of course, the Rock Kim come out and the Big Daddy Kane. So, you know, and the groups back then was dope. Like Stetson Sonic, they was dope. You know, you had Divine Force. Get into the 90s, which we, you know, everybody consider the golden era. You know, I'm glad to be a part of that. Of course, Wu-Tang. And if you ask me my favorite group of all time, I'm gonna say Wu-Tang.
Right.
So my top five have to be carving out Wu-Tang, even the MCs, because Jizza, I mean, if you listen to a song like Fame, where he's taking names of celebrities and entertainers and he's making a story out of it, you know, like he's saying stuff like, he said, Jason's kid took his first steps in Jimmy's Walker. You know, that's Jason Kidd, the basketball player, Jimmy Walker, you know what I mean? And, you know, like Robert Diggs, the beat, but they ain't feeling the flow. Like Chris Rock, the show. You know what I mean? It's like he was saying shit like that. So to me, he's incredible. Of course, you got to go Ghostface, his stories. Meth is even sharper now than ever. You know, that's my take on him. But then you got Nas, you got Mobb Deep, you have you know, Busta, and like Busta and Nas come, of course, to thought first because we was just on the New York State of Mind tour, and you know, and but MCs that was killing it, Jay-Z, MC, Biggie, MC, you know, M.O.P. I mean, it's a lot of dope cats. It's hard to say top five. Then you get into 2000s, you know, even late 99, you had like the Eminem come out. You had, you know, don't forget the females, because you had, you know, you always had them. Sha Rock from back in the days, who's one of my favorites, all the way to like Little Kim, Foxy Brown, Rod Digger, Heather B. I mean, the list goes on. You know, today, you know, there's people like, I like Shay Noor, she's dope, Amani Caesar. It's a lot of dope individuals out there. I mean, 2000s came around, you know, you had G-Unit, you know, 50 Cent, and them cats like Lloyd Banks, mad lyrical. Tony Yayo, I think, is mad underrated. He's dope. You have a lot of individuals came out in 2000 that was dope. Even like, you know, Cassidy was dope. You know, Philly always had dope MCs from Steady B, and like I said, Schoolie D and them cats. LA, Cali always had dope MCs, whether it was Ice Cube. You got Coast Contra right now. They dope. They killing it. You know, Razzcast, and you know, it's a whole bunch of MCs. You know, Simba, he's killing it. I mean, you know, yeah, I mean, hip hop is universal. You know, you have the whole Griselda movement, Benny the Butcher. But top five, let me get to my top five of all time. That's a tough one. You know, I always say a certain five, but it can change. You know, because I might listen to an album tomorrow and be like, yo, like I might listen to go back in the days and listen to a BDP album and listen to KRS One and like, wow, the shit he was saying is like incredible. Then it's like, where do I put him? Like, he's top five. G-Rap is top five. Nas is top five. And I base my top five on styles, flow, originality. You know, impact too, but you got a lot of people that didn't have impact that other people had. They might not have had the push, but they were still dope, you know? So.
Hell yeah. I love that. Your homie was that Wu-Tang biggest impact when it comes to hip hop.
Wait, say that again. You broke up. I'm sorry.
Oh, your homie said that Wu-Tang has the biggest impact when it comes to hip hop group. Just biggest impact on the genre.
I agree, and not, you know, not because you know, I'm down with the crew, but because prior to Wu-Tang, dudes wasn't able to sign as a group and then go solo. Record labels wasn't working together. That was done by design, you know, and if you watch the American Saga, you see the thoughts of RZA, you see the thoughts of Divine and how they put things together, Power and them brothers. So that was a big impact on hip hop because it still impacts it to this day because people still do it to this day. At one point they called it a Wu-Tang deal. Let me get a Wu-Tang deal. But now it's normal. So, people kind of people may not even know where it first started. But yeah, it started with Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang impacted in so many ways as far as so many lyrical assassins, as far as even beats. Like when you listen to a lot of our beats in the beginning was just like, you could say sporadic, you could say, and I think because like I said, it took me a while to go study music theory. So we did like we fell, whether it was right or whether it was wrong, and James Brown, when I seen his movie, I understand it completely because him and Maceo was a scene, but Maceo was like, wait, hold on, you can't do that. You gotta, because music theory tell you can't do that. And James Brown was like, well, does it feel good? Or does it sound good? But there it is. We gonna do it. And I think that's what Wu-Tang did. It was a lot of freedom that Wu-Tang had. Then a mixture of the karate flicks. Then as far as even a mixture of the black movies, like old black exploitation movies, because dudes wasn't doing it like that then. And then also the names, the AKAs, like Method Man, AKA Johnny Blaze, Raekwon, AKA Lex Diamonds and Noodles. And, it's like there wasn't no AKAs until Wu-Tang. So, yeah, the biggest impact, I say, yeah, Wu-Tang all the way around the board,
And how to be the one that is responsible for like creating their sound, like that's legendary.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't say I created the sound. I think we was all
like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, being a part of it, yeah, because that was we all, how it is when people are together and we vibe together. We all have a certain feeling or mutual understanding of things, and I think music is emotional, and you bring it out of you, what's already within you. And I think that what we had in us, we was able to let out and let loose. So yeah, I feel great to be a part of that. Like when people come to me and be like, yo, like, oh, you did that beat, or they know certain beats that I wouldn't even know that they knew, and certain songs, and they'd be like, yo, that song right there changed my life. Like, yo, I became a producer because of that. Even like with the W, a brother, be like, yo, I started drawing, or I took this because of that W, and I think everything worked hand in hand, like the MCs, the DJ, the production, even the representation by that W, the logo, because the logo was embodiment of everything we was dealing with, from from karate flicks, graffiti, hardcore, hip hop, everything, it was the mystique of it.
And do you have a most meaningful song or beat that you did for Wu-Tang and the story behind it?
Yeah, I actually do. I mean, see, a lot of times, I don't dwell in the past because time is ever moving, so I try to move on. So a lot of my favorites and the things that mean the most to me now are the beats or the songs that I'm making now. So it's a few that hold dear to my heart. Like Cobra Clutch is one that holds dear to my heart. Like, I made that around the same time, like Publicity, Mighty Healthy. Mighty Healthy is another one. But Cobra Clutch was just like the feeling I was feeling at that time. I was able to express it through music. And it was like, even like with the screams, adding the screams and because I was going through something there. And that's when I started understanding how to really channel the music. Then even on the saga, Lesson Learned was like, to me, was one of the first joints that I really made and constructed and really made it sound like a sample that wasn't a sample. That's over the years, you try to make joints and you try to make it sound like a sample. To me, that was the first one that I felt like mission completed. So, I'm working on some new joints right now, actually. I don't know if I should be saying that, but, yeah, I'm going to say it. Fuck it. Well, yeah, I'm going to say. So, I actually just completed the follow-up to the saga. So, it's going to be The Saga Continues. Mathematics, yes. And I have this song on there that is definitely one of my favorites right now. It just showed a lot of growth for me. Like even when I listen back to it right now, and I can't wait for the world to hear it. And it's a song that has meth on it, has ghosts on it. I got the talented Nicole Bus on it, and it's one of them songs. It's one of them joints, and that's my favorite song right now that I've done. So, yeah, I just can't wait for the world to hear it, which will be soon.
Hell yeah, I love that. Is this a good time to talk about 100 Miles from Home?
Great time. It's a great time.
Talk about how. Yeah, where'd you get that idea and just the meaning behind the title?
Well, because the meaning behind the title 100 Miles from Home is that you could be around the corner and get caught up into some shit, and it just seemed like you so far from home. It's like I remember getting robbed. Well, I almost got robbed right down the block from my mother's house. The dudes jumped out on me, pulled out a gun on me, and it's like had me pinned, and I was getting ready to just like fuck it, give them everything. But then it's like they came with a certain aggression and tried to manhandle me, like come here. So when it got to that, it was like wait, hold on. So a tussle happened, and the dude with the gun, he's laughing, he's holding the gun, laughing like. So I'm like, yo, they playing with my life right now. So the dog, it was a dog in the yard, and he's barking, he's going crazy. Now the dog is a Rottweiler. I don't know the dog, but the dog is in that yard all the time. I kind of break free, get over the fence, and I just take off past the dog, and the dog is just like still barking, but the dog kind of slowed them down. So I had to jump the fence. So as I'm jumping the fence, I'm hearing pat, pat, pat. I'm hearing the shots. Hearing the shots go over my head. I'm like, yo, but I had to dip around the block, come, you know what I mean, go down the block, cut through yards to get back to my house, to my mom's crib. But it just felt like I was so far from home. So it's like, that's 100 miles from home. Like, you could be down the block and still feel like you're 100 miles from home because of your situation. So 100 miles from home is, I wrote it. It's three acts to it, right? So the first act is actually up. The second act, I was going to drop today, but I had a problem that I'm clearing up. It's really not a problem, but you know how YouTube is with music. So I have to prove something to them, and I'm in the mix of that. So I think I'm going to wait until next Wednesday to release it, just to release it on WuWednesday, but it's the act 2. Because this happens on one side of town, but yet on the other side of town, now we go to a different story, and Act 3 is a totally different story, but they all connect, and Act 2 is beautiful because it's, it's like the saga continues, and it's from the first one. But, I have different actors in it. Like in the first one, I had Rome Streets in it. If you go up on my channel now, Rome Streets from Griselda. I had Meth with a guest appearance. I have WeBay. My man Hassan Johnson, he played in it. In this one, I got once the second act starts, you're going to see a few more people you know. Then when the third act starts, you're going to see a few more people you know. You might even see some other dudes from the clan in the third act and things of that. So, definitely look forward to it. It's like, it's 9 episodes. Like I said, I wrote the majority of it. The second act was my man Zulu. He actually came in and pitched in, who was the director of the second act as well. And then, but yeah, it's beautiful. And writing is something that's a passion I have now as far as writing. So I'm writing scripts, and I think the best way, because you can write scripts all day, but I think the best thing to do is to show your work. Like if you really know what you're doing, and you have to. The same way, like when I make beats, I have to manifest it, put it into existence. The same way when I write my scripts, it's like, if I got to bankroll it myself, I'm going to do it because nobody else is going to do it for me. A lot of people, once they see you doing something, then it's like, oh, okay, I'm going to help you, or I want to be, like, oh, that's dope. Let me be a part of it.
Right. How easy or how difficult is it to call on the bigger people? I know you got Method Man already, but like, how easy or difficult is it to call the homies up? Like, yo, I need you in my home. Like,
Well, it's easy and it's both because for my brothers, they always want to help you. They always want to be a part, but it's scheduling. It's like if this, like this brother may be here or he may be out of town. It's like, all right, but I'm doing it. So, it's a blessing when you can get them in there and you can do it. It's a beautiful thing. But
for sure.
yeah, yeah. Schedule is the hardest part. Just making sure to get everybody.
Definitely. Do you have any epic stories from the Cold Chillin' Blizzard tour?
Cold Chillin' Blizzard tour. Oh wow, that tour was a trip. It was my first tour. And G-Rap, one of my favorite MCs, he's actually was on the tour. And I finally got a chance to work with him too, on some music, like because I always wanted to work with G-Rap. But yeah, it was just crazy. It was a whole different experience. I remember Biz was like the host, and Biz, he couldn't fit in a bunk, like on a bus. So he had the whole back to himself, like, the back, and he made his bed back there. Yeah. I mean, it was good. Rest in peace, Granddaddy IU. Rest in peace, Biz Mark. It was a beautiful thing. I learned a lot back then. I definitely learned a lot as far as, like, how things go on the tour.
You said that was your first tour?
Yeah, that was my first tour. Yup, Cold Chillin' Blizzard tour. Huh?
Were you nervous?
Nah. Back then, no. Back then, no fear. We was, when you're young, you don't have no fear. It's like you ready to rock. I knew I was nice. We was ready to rock at any given time. I think it came a point in my career where I used to start getting butterflies. And it's like, yeah, I'm like, yo, what the fuck am I getting butterflies for? But now I don't get butterflies. It's like, it's work, it's a job. I'm a professional. I'm here to do. It's like another day at the office, and that takes me like, even like Dirty never had a fear of getting on stage. The last time I performed with Dirty though, he was scared to get on stage. That's when I knew something was. He had just came home from jail, and he wasn't the same. You know what I mean? It's like they, going through what he went through, it took a lot out of him, I guess. And he was. I never seen Dirty not want to hit the stage. I didn't see Dirty take mics from people, fight over mics with people. Like, who wants? Yeah, Wu-Tang, let's go. That was Dirty. And I remember that last show we did together, and that was the first Rock the Bells. He was a little nervous to get on that stage.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was actually one of my questions. Do you have a most memorable ODB interaction or story?
Yeah, that's a good one right there. That's definitely a good one. Cause I got so many, and brings a smile to my face. Actually, just thinking about some of the things, but that's a good one right there.
A good one. I know you just thought of one.
Well, if you've seen the American Saga, I definitely remember that night. I don't want to spoil it if you ain't see it, but I remember the night when he wrecked like 3 cars in one night. It's like, it's like he crashed, came back. He's at the mansion. He came. He's like, I just crashed my car. But he still wanted to make a move. He got in the next car, crashed that one. It's like, yo,
wow.
Take this up.
What is your guys' reaction? What do you guys say to that? Like, good?
Yeah, no, but he was good because I got another story for you, right? This was in LA, since you're in LA, right? And this is, I went and got my first, like, certain things, when I see things and I like it, I'm like, yo, I gotta get that. So I remember Dirty was the first person I seen with a Navigator when they first came out. Me was in LA. And I remember we was going somewhere. I think we was going to dinner or something like that. And I remember it was me, him, RZA, and I forget who else. Somebody else was in the Navigator. So Dirty's driving, and Dirty put the pedal to the metal when he drive. Like Dirty, he out. Like that's how he move. And we on the streets and he's driving. And we going down one block. Some guy comes running out. Dirty hits him. Boom, 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 boom. He like hits the hood, rolls over the hood. Dirty stops. Dude gets up, look at us, and keeps running. So we all looked at each other like, oh, what the fuck? And we, just start cracking up.
Damn.
Dirty just kept it moving, kept it moving. I was like, wow.
Wow. That's crazy. How is it watching the show? That must be like fun.
Yeah, well, yeah, it is. I got to catch up on the episodes. I ain't even gonna lie. Like I just seen episode 8 because I went to the premiere of it,
Nice.
but it was out of order for me because I'm not up to episode 8 yet. It's like I've been so busy.
Right.
To be honest, that's the only one I've seen this whole season. It's like
I respect it. Oh, you good? Did you just freeze? Uh-oh. Hello? Feel like no one from the clan enjoyed this show? Really? Uh-oh. Hello? Hello? Damn. I don't know what to do, y'all. Matthew there? Uh-oh. I don't think he's on Wi-Fi, y'all. Okay. Do I stop it? I don't know what to do now. Technology, I swear. Thank y'all for tuning in though, for real. You wanna exit and then come back? I don't know what to do. How do I do this? Should I exit y'all? I don't know what to do. Invite.
make me calm down and love somebody.